Welcome back to the Daily Report and welcome to the marketplace. Tonight, we're going to be dissecting the film industry. Of course, already in studio, we have the people who are going to help us dissect this particular sector. How much is it bringing in? How exactly are the people faring on? And are the people within this sector being appreciated and helped to reach, of course, their goals? Already in studio, we have Timothy Odhiambo, who is the CEO of the Kenya Film Commission. And we have Ian Isaboke, who is a household name, who's just going to be telling us how things are on the ground. I'll start with you, Timothy. How is the Kenya Film Commission faring on?
We are keeping very well and championing the growth of the film industry in Kenya.
Right.
Yes.
And that is, of course, a very positive trajectory as we start this conversation.
Very well.
Ian, welcome to TV47.
Thank you for having me.
Click, click, bang. I think that's what I want to start with because that was such an amazing film. What exactly was going through your mind when it was first aired, when people were watching it?
When people are watching, I was hoping I was just truthful as possible to the character that I was playing.
Right.
And true to the word, the audience loved it. Mm-hmm. And it's a character that I grew up around such people. I grew up in Kibra, so I grew up around such people. So doing research for the role was a little bit easier than the other roles that I've ever been in.
Right.
So it was amazing playing it, and it was more amazing to watch people interact with the character and the whole film at large, because it was an amazing team who put the movie together. Abel wrote an amazing script. Mm-hmm. Phil and Michael Smalls did an amazing job directing it, and collaborating with the other artists was also amazing generally, and the reception of the audience, I mean, that's all we have. As an artist, that's all you ever want, to make a piece of art and have the audience interact with it. That brings the art full circle.
Right. Yeah. And of course, as we continue to discuss this particular venture, the world of art, the orange economy, we just want to know if other people resonate with what you're saying. Of course, Mr. Timothy, if we could just look at a few statistics right now. The Kenyan film industry directly employs, and this is according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, around 130,000 people, and it accounts for about 4.5% of the employed workforce, and only 30% to 40% are women. But these are statistics from 2019. Right now, how do you think the Kenyan film industry is faring on?
From the survey we published last year in December, the survey that was undertaken by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics in 2022, the total contribution of the film industry to the exchequer was 38 billion shillings.
Right.
And I believe that is an understatement because this was the very first ever survey that we ever undertook to ascertain how the film industry is contributing economically to the national GDP.
Right. You're saying almost 40 billion. Almost
40 billion. And remember, this was a first. Kenya National Bureau of Statistics had never done any survey as far as the film industry is concerned. So for us, this was a very good start. It's just an indicator of how far we can be able to go. Right. And I think as we progress going into the future, with the right impetus, we can be able to contribute a lot more.
Right.
Just the same way we offer subsidies to agriculture or farmers, I think filmmakers also need to be given the impetus in terms of incentives that will be able to catalyze their growth, and that's what we are doing.
Right, and of course with this database, now that you have all this information, it is so much easier to negotiate for more of the national pie when the budgeting process does come around.
And of course, I just want to rally every Kenyan to support the likes of Isaboke, because Isaboke has the best job in the world.
Right.
And when we support him, we'll be able to contribute more to the growth of our economy.
All right.
Yes.
And Ian, now that, he's already thrown that, in the works, would you say 40 billion shillings is a lot of money? When you look at the industry, you interact with a lot of artists, a lot of producers and directors, you interact with script writers. Does this money reflect in your pockets?
May I get paid? That's one for sure. One thing is for sure, I get paid.
Right.
40 billion, no, that's for everyone.
Right.
But I wish the industry has the capability of paying me 40 billion as a person.
Right.
All I want to say is, as filmmakers usually have this tendency of telling people to support us.
Right.
But I feel like all we need to do is we need to have more brave producers who look at film industry as a business in general, come up with proper business plans, and venture into the film industry industry, the same way you might venture into real estate, into the hotel industry. Just bring your money, bring the capital. If you make a good product, people will come and watch it. And if it's properly marketed, and right now the Kenya Film Commission really does help in the marketing of local movies.
Right.
They have screenings all over the country, and they also do help in the outside exhibitions. Hizo za uko majuu, wao huendanga na wanaonyeshanga movies zetu huko. So I feel like if we had more brave producers and people who are willing to put their money into the film industry, it's a viable business, and their money will return, because Kenyans have a hunger for more local content.
Yes.
And we should feed them more local content. And I feel like TV47 as a local TV station, first of all, do you guys show 80% local content?
We actually do.
And
we do abide by the regulator.
I hope it's not just talk shows.
No, actually.
Yeah, if anything,
it's not talk shows, my goodness.
Yeah,
you should watch our content.
I will. Most of the time I'm on set creating entertainment for this lovely Kenyan.
Fantastic.
But all I'm hoping for is like more TV stations could take up independent producers and bring them into the fold so that they can employ their expertise and create more local shows. That means we'll have more artists getting paid, because if anything, the president keeps saying that he wants to create more employment for the youth. I feel like entertainment is one of the places where you can create a lot more employment for a lot more youth, because tuko wengi. Yes. And I'm pretty sure it's a headache for the government trying to create employment for all these youth. Right. But if they can like create proper policies, KFC are still pushing for the proper policies and frameworks to be put in so that the film industry can be as profitable and it can reflect in our pockets better.
Right.
And I feel like hiyo ndo direction tunafaa tu kwenda. Urge more TV stations to abide by the 80%. I don't know if it's 80 or 70%.
60%.
I feel like they should even go to 90%.
In fact, even, we would say 100.
Yeah, we're in Kenya, and
we don't want to lock out.
I mean, we have 10% for them. If you go to other countries, they really don't care about other people.
Right.
First of all, it's the citizenry that matter, and then for purposes of trade and everything else, the others can come in, you know. So I feel like that should be the priority of everyone in this country, making sure that the entertainment industry works much better than it's already working. Because part of that 40 billion, half of it is from commercials.
Yeah, that's
so I hope maybe if the film industry in general could bring in even 100 billion, because sometimes you look at the box office numbers from abroad and the number of money leaving, the money is leaving our economy to go to Hollywood, back to Hollywood, because we've been watching too much local, international movies locally.
Yes.
In Nauma. So we need to get a lot more producers to produce. That's why I even started acting and producing at the same time, because I'm 30 now. I'll be, in 5 years, I won't be a youth anymore.
Right.
I also need to get into that space where I can create, so that people who are in university right now, in high school, can look forward and say, hey, I also want to be an actor, and come into an ecosystem that can support their dreams and everything that they actually want to do in the industry.
All right, Ian. Of course, one would say that you have achieved a certain level of success, and you speak from a certain level of success, as you know, Timothy has also said. How about we get in touch with the ground? We see, local upcoming artists. What do they have to say? Let's play the second clip.
Naomba sana serikali watuangazie sisi kama wanafilamu, actors na actresses, like watu support, kama maybe waone kama sisi wana vigogo pia, watu nunulie my equipments, alafu pia wapunguze hizi ushuru, hizi licensing pia zinatuumiza sana. Maana sasa kama hauna pesa, hakuna venye unaweza nunua licensing, unaona?
Right, that is Nancy Sangalia from Taita Taveta. Timothy, I'll just throw it to you at first. Do you believe that we have a conducive environment for up-and-coming artists in this particular sector?
We are doing our very best to see to it that we support every artist in this country.
Right.
I think a very good example, Isaboke has indicated that he earns from his works in the film industry. He does not do this as a side hustle. And I believe Isaboke.
This is the main
hustle.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So mine is to remind Nancy that she should be able to look out for opportunities that we present to the industry, especially when it comes to training, and at the same time, look out for opportunities in terms of the funding program that we offer so that she can be able to benefit from this and tell stories that can be consumed by Kenyans. And of course, to a large extent, I want to call on all Kenyans to consume local content, spend money on consuming local content so that we are able to support more stories being told.
Right.
When we expand the horizon in terms of our market, then we are creating an opportunity for Isaboke and others so that Kenyan stories can be able to go to the world and the world can be able to come to Kenya through storytelling.
Right, and if we look at the numbers, of course, globally, the sector is worth about $100 billion that Kenya could be tapping into.
It's actually 170.
Yeah, I saw you, Ian, you know, your eyes went wide for a minute there. $100 billion, I do not kid, that is a lot of money, and 40 billion is what, you know, we are getting from the local setup. But I do believe that the government is also pushing for a lot of projects to come into the country. Could you just tell us about that?
I agree totally. The government is very keen to see to it that we have more co-productions, connecting Kenyan producers with the foreign producers. Recently, the Kenyan government has engaged United States studios, like Invention Studios, who are coming here to set up productions in partnership with our local producers. And the main intention is to see to it that our stories are able to go global. When we do this, we expand the eyeballs, not only focusing on Kenya or East Africa, but to go beyond Africa, Asia, US, and Europe.
Right.
When we do this, then we are expanding the scope as to how much we can be able to earn as a country.
Right.
Remember, the East African community has about 600 million Swahili speakers. This is a huge market for Isaboke. And when we champion the togetherness that we are able to tell our stories and reach this market, we can be able to make a lot more.
Right.
But beyond that, we must be able to produce high-quality productions. And that's why the Kenya Film Commission undertakes capacity building programs. We are setting up film hubs in regions so that we provide the emerging filmmakers like Nancy an opportunity not to only tell stories from Nairobi, but they can be able to tell from wherever they are, like Taita Taveta, Nyeri, Busia, among other places.
Right.
And when we do this, we are opening up space to be able to tell our stories, connect, and see the real benefits of the film industry, which are huge as compared to any other industry.
Right.
Yes.
Ian, I have to throw it back to you. Of course, Nancy is one of, you know, the people who look up to you. They do watch your films. They've seen your level of success. What do you feel about what she's just said? And of course, as you talk about that, how do you feel? What do you think is the level at which we've reached towards the global market? Are we going there? Is our projection on the right direction?
You know, if you were to ask someone for a lift on the road, first you have to go to the road.
Okay.
So I feel like you can start with whatever it is that you have.
Right.
Siku hizi wanasemanga hata unaweza shoot movie na simu. You have to start somewhere and put your name on it. You'll automatically have a credit as a filmmaker. And we can't really rely on government for everything.
Right.
Because like I said, if you treat film like any other business, you won't ask anyone for your support. If someone wants to set up a kibanda and start selling chapatis, this person will go look for the wood and the timber and maybe the iron to create this structure, look for money to buy a jiko, a pani, and set up a small kibanda and start the business. You can even ask your parents or your friends, pull your resources together and start something. Because 10 years, more than 10 years ago, me and my friends came together and did our first short film. And we approached an organization that had these equipments. They just told us, if you bring a script, if you go through it, we'll give you the money. We'll give you, not the monies necessarily, the resources, which was it was the sound kit, camera, and they gave us an edit suit. And they told us, you just come, put it together, and they gave us people to oversee. And I feel like if you really want something, you'll get it. So the question of like people have done films, so many. The Kalashas is a testament. They had, how many entries were there this year?
This year we had 1,500.
There could be more.
There could be more.
So you could be part of and these 1,500 entries were made by a team of people. Film is not a solo endeavor. That's what I tell everyone. You have to get a team around you that you trust. If you can't be the DP, get a DP, get a sound person, get someone who cuts the footage together, get someone who'll do the music, get someone who'll do the nitty-gritties, or someone who can multitask and do sound and also edit, or do camera and also edit. So it's a matter of pulling the resources that you have together and starting where you are. And I feel like vile wanasemanga to the journey of 1,000 steps inaanzanga na kutekio ya kwanza. So the narrative of like always trying, government has a role to play, but they can't do everything for us. So we have to like first of all show the initiative, alafu kujituma tu kidogo, alafu utajipata mali unafaa kukua. Juu imagine hata mimi lazima nitoke kwa nyumba niende audition ndo niitwe job. So hiyo pia ni kujituma.
Yeah, self push, self drive. It's very important.
Yeah. And I think we must be very deliberate on this craft. We cannot complain and assume that through our complaints we can be able to achieve anything. When we are deliberate about the stories we tell, the kind of build-up collaborations that we put together, we can be able to do much. I rally all filmmakers to look at the bigger picture, have structures in terms of the guilds and associations, so that we are actually self-regulating in a manner that we are deliberate on what we want to achieve. We come up with programs, for example, programs that address issues of health, issues of financing, legal issues, and so on, our work conditions. Because when we talk about working conditions on a set, that is something that the industry can actually be able to manage by itself through strong guilds. For us at Kenya Film Commission, we like to see to it that we're able to support these structures through governance frameworks that can be able to help them grow. Because without that, then we may not be able to achieve much, as much as we have a huge opportunity within the industry.
Right, and Timothy, before we go into the bigger picture, and the bigger picture could be the Kahala Awards, which is going to be happening in a week or so, a few days from now, right? Let's just look at a few numbers before we look at questions, because there are so many questions coming in. There are so many people within this industry that have so many questions for the both of you. The Africa on average produces 5,500 films a year, and of course around 3,500 of those is made in West Africa. Nigeria produces around 2,500 a year. You say that the entries for the Kahala Awards was about 1,500. Where are we missing out on eating the African pie?
I think there are a few things that we must be able to put into perspective. We have so many scripts in this country, but these scripts need financing to be able to have them into fruition. And that's why the Commission has come up with a program like the Film Empowerment Program, to ensure that we are able to put money on the table, and by that we are able to produce films. Last year, through our funding initiative, we were able to support 22 film companies in Kenya, employing over 2,200 young people, and I know we can be able to employ even much more. All we need is to come up, and I know the government is working on establishing a national film fund, which will see to it that producers are able to access financing, and at the same time, as Kenya Film Commission engages banks, insurance companies, and others, we put a financial infrastructure in place to support the film industry so that we are able to tell stories without any limitations.
Right, Timothy, a question has just come in, within those lines. Someone is asking that in 2020 to 2022, the KFC boosted the film industry output by grant funding projects, and the fund has dried up since. And now that filmmakers have been self-funding a lot of late, is the Commission considering revisiting their funding model and hopefully triple films output and build hope in the sector's economic viability come 2025 onwards?
I like that question, but the person
very nuanced.
The person who has sent out that question, I just want to correct the person that the program is still in place. It has not dried up. We, as I said, last year alone we were able to fund 22 projects, and in a very short while we are going to send out another call. So the program is still on. All I'm trying to say is that we would like to see a national film fund, which is an initiative the government is looking at, so that we have a continuous funding program. Because the empowerment program that we have is a one call in a year.
Okay.
I would like to see a situation where we are able to send out 2 calls in a year, meaning we are able to fund more projects. When
Right.
we do that, then we are able to employ more people.
Right.
We are able to engage more. We are able to champion more co-productions. And also, more of our stories can be marketed internationally and regionally.
Right, Timothy, and now I have to throw it back to Ian. When it comes to self-funding of films, you have, of course, you have a lot of films out there. Do you believe that self-funding is one of the things that is killing the film industry? Do you believe that there should be more money that the government should be channeling into? Do you have access to grants?
I personally, yes, do have access to grants. When KFC puts out calls, I do send out my scripts. And there's also a lot more funding avenues out there. There's more to social media than just Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Right.
There's websites, there's film festivals that give out funds. You can do collaborations with, a lot of European countries actually do offer grants if you collaborate with some of their filmmakers, and these are opportunities that young people can look to explore. And self-funding isn't killing the industry. If anything, it's giving the industry more energy to move forward, because like I said, it's a business like any other.
Right.
We can't cry every day for support, because if there is, let's say in a year, let's say we have like an average of 10 feature films coming out independently produced, and that's on the higher side. But I'm just hoping, like, let's say if in a year we can have like 50 self-funded films in Kenya, and they're all premiering in theaters, we can have the scenarios that we have in Nigeria, where big studios in Hollywood are afraid to premiere their films on the same day as local films in Nigeria.
Right.
So if Wakanda 3 is premiering next week and I'm also premiering my movie, they also need to feel intimidated that, hey, this local movie is probably going to take the spotlight away from us,
right,
and premiere it on a later date locally. So all I'm saying is we need to love ourselves a little bit more.
Right.
Tunafaa tuachane na colonization of the mind yenye inafanya unafikiria entertainment ya wengine kutoka majuu is better than yours.
Right.
It's better quality. I'm not disputing that.
Right.
It's well done, but we're talking about 100 years of film history that we are trying to compete with. Right. And we have our industry that's like 20 years or 25 years old at most, you know.
Right.
And we're really, and the equipment right now that's out there, equipment yenye inatumika Hollywood ndio iko hapa town.
Right.
You can hire it if you use the correct channels, and we can tell stories that can intrigue people and put eyeballs on the screen in cinemas and generate money for us.
Right.
That's just a model that we need to look into, and maybe one day in the future, the government can increase infrastructure and maybe build a cinema theater in the 47 counties. So, because at the end of the day, Kenya inafanya majuu wanatubit ni if Warner Bros releases a movie, Warner Bros has like, let's say 1,000 cinemas across Europe or across America where they can release their movies. And these are theaters that have been there for the last 70, 100 years.
Right.
So they have a culture. So if we can have people with money, spare money, they can build their independent private theaters in all these counties, and we'll make movies and we'll bring them. Bring them, because at the end of the day, I can only show my movie in Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, and
the major
Eldoret,
cities.
you see.
Right.
And I would want to take my movie to Lokichar. I would want to take my movie to Garissa. I'd want to take it to Makueni. I'd want to take it to Kakamega if they had a theater, you know. I'd want to take it to Siaya. I would want to take it to Kisii, you know, but there's no proper infrastructure.
Right.
But that being said and done, there's the internet and there's other modes of distribution.
Right.
So if you're trying to look for an excuse not to make a movie, that's on you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we go
funding.
Right, on funding, we will come back to that. I have been beckoned to take a break for the past, I think, 2 minutes as Ian was speaking. Okay. But when we do come back, we will talk about the funding. And of course, there's a question on, public viewing spaces, as he has. I feel like the people in the industry usually talk about this. We go for a very short break. We'll be right back on The Marketplace.
Safari hii katika Mfahamu Kiongozi tutakuletea viongozi aina mbalimbali.
Nikuwe na Nisani kama 10 na pia nikuwe menua minibus. Minibus niko niwa.
Kushinda unaangalia simu ya mzee. Soma Biblia ama ingia kwa washroom ujisugue. Mpaka nimetoa hivi.
I don't know whether any of my children would want to get into the political field. Sijajua bado.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30 kuendelea.
Join us on a journey through the concrete jungles and rising skylines, where every beam, every nail tells a story of progress and vision.
In every aspect of life, you know, you have to look at several dynamics.
From groundbreaking,
Nowadays with the tech, you can check on different websites or you check online and you can see some inspiration. So at least that one would be a direction already. I'll know like what kind of style you're going for.
to finishing touches, witness the dedication of the hard-working teams who bring these ambitious dreams to reality. The Realtor, Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m.
All right, welcome back to the marketplace. Of course, we were still going on with that conversation here in studio as we went for that break. Timothy, we were talking about funding. You were saying that, of course, crowdfunding is an option that we could be taking within the country. Tell us more.
There are several options. Filmmakers cannot only rely on grants, because grants is just one of the many forms of funding. There is crowdfunding. We can be able to get support from banks. Let me see Isaboke walking into a banking institution with a deliberate effort that you are walking in to actually seek for funding so that you are able to undertake your project, because you know your project is going to give you a return on investment. Just like any other business, you must be able to invest, nurture your investment so that you're able to see the returns. So my rallying call is that we should not only focus on grants. The government will always work hard to see to it that the operational environment is conducive, that you are able to access more partners through co-production treaties. The marketplace like Kalasha, being a platform for buyers and sellers, being able to converge. And when they converge, then we have an opportunity to create more linkages, and that our content can be bought by major streaming services or broadcasting houses. When that happens, and more eyeballs are able to access our content, then that gives us room to create more wealth, which our country is looking forward to.
Right. Ian, in a few days we will be having the Kahala Awards. Of course, as a producer, filmmaker, actor, this is usually the highlight. And a nominee. Congratulations.
I'm a nominee. Again, thank you very much.
This would be the highlight of your year, I would be assuming.
Of course, every filmmaker looks forward to the Kalashas, especially if you're in Kenya. Whether they want to tell you or not, they always look forward to it. This is my second nomination. The first one, I was nominated for Click Click Bang, Best Supporting Actor in a Film, which I won. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone. And I also hope to win this year. It's a tough category. Best supporting, best lead actor in a TV show for Shamba la Wanyama, which is currently on Viusasa. And I just hope we can put in more work, and we can have the categories as competitive as possible. You know, like we have in the Oscars, we have like 7 to 10 films competing for Best Picture. You know, 7 actors competing for the same.
You want someone to give you a run for your money.
No, they are giving me a run for my money. That category is a tough one, I can tell you for a fact.
That's the essence of the awards.
We
create more competition.
So if it's an election, so it's like the presidential slot.
Competitiveness enables growth.
Okay.
And also, when Isabok is challenged by his peer, then he works even more harder into the next year, which is important.
But this year, niliwekelea kazi. As always, the job is stellar. The production team outdid themselves, the writers, the director, the crew. Everyone made sure that my work was easier. And by all means, it was easy, because getting a nomination amongst everyone else who was submitted, that speaks for itself. So guys can go onto the StarTimes app website and vote for me. Sorry for it.
Uneza, you can.
Nipigeni kura. It's a very tough category. So I mean, all the votes I can get inaweza kuwa amazing. But all I can say, I just urge more people to step out their shells and produce more. I urge more writers to be brave enough to tell stories as they are. Sababu, when you look at films from Hollywood and other parts of the established film markets, and you're like, this is a very simple story that's well told.
Exactly.
I mean, we just need to stop conjuring things up from the ether and tell everyday lives, because we need to talk about the human experience, and that's the essence of storytelling. Just translating the human experience so someone else can be like, so people go through this range of emotions too. People go through this. And that's art for you. Art connects people, and art is a very integral part of the culture, of who we are. And to embrace kutell stories zetu na indigenous language zetu. Sababu hata Oscars wako na kategoria international film. And if you submit a film in English, it won't be considered.
Of course.
You have to submit it in your indigenous language. Let's embrace telling stories if you're a Kao, tell your stories in Kao. Kama wewe ni Mjaka, sema stories zako na Kijaka. Kama wewe umetoka hapa ghetto, sema stories zenu na language yenye watu wenu wataelewa. We watch French films. We watch Italian movies. I was watching a Russian movie the other day. I don't know how I got to it, but I was intrigued and I watched it to the end. So language shouldn't be a barrier. Tell your story as authentic as you feel like you should tell it. It will find an audience.
On that note, we do have someone from the ground speaking on what you have just spoken about. Coincidentally enough, let's play clip 3.
Oh, okay.
Filamu za Afrika ama za Kenya zinakosa msukumo, na kukosa msukumo ni kwa sababu hawataki kuzileta kwa wananchi, hawataki kuhusisha wananchi. Sasa bado tuko na ile mentality kwamba filamu za nje ndo nzuri, lakini ni vizuri sana ziwe na msukumo na ziwe pia zinapata masponsor wa kuweza kuzisukuma, na pia wananchi pia wao introduced kuwa hizo filamu ndo zenyewe zinatakana kwa sasa. Serikali ni lazima ijihusishe mahali pakubwa na ionekane kabisa kwamba kuna kitu inataka kuamsha wananchi wake kuhusiana na hizi filamu za Kenya, ili wananchi wa Kenya pia wao waonekane pia wanaweza fanya.
Let's just get reactions within the studio. Ian, I'll start with you.
I mean, mtu anaongea facts bana. Like vitu zetu ni normal, movies zetu ni normal. Like there's something I usually tell people, that my dad used to enjoy Nigerian movies so much, and every time I'd be like, Dad, we want to watch a nice production from Hollywood. We have a movie. We're like, no, you guys listen. This is a very nice movie. And I didn't share the same school of thought until I started making films. And then I got to interact with a few Nigerians, and then I realized this is how you guys are. It's not even like a far-fetched reimagination of who you are. You guys just decided to tell your stories as you are. You know, we all have that auntie mwenye akona mushene mingi. Tuko na ule mwenye kila mtu anaitanga mchawi. Tuko na ule mwenye kila mtu anasemanga ule ni wa kanisa, ule ni mzuri. And these are the stories that people want to tell. We can't tell stories about alien invasions and you don't have the technology to get there yet. We will get it there, and we can have our own reimagination of those stories, because that's what fiction is all about. But hapo kwa government involvement and also maybe private sector involvement and community involvement, You see, the same way a community rallies together and builds a church is a very important part of culture. Art is also a very important part of culture. The same way we have a church, we should have a theater next there, you know. Because people coming together, we can all champion for people watching stuff on the internet and our devices, but there's something about people coming together and watching something together. It's community spirit. It's the same way have you ever been to Kasarani to watch a football match?
I have once, and to be honest, it was quite interesting, to be honest.
I mean, I feel like people should just come together and watch. There's a certain sense of togetherness that art brings about, and experiencing it together and be like, this person went through this, I also went through this, and it's in a movie. Nice. So it speaks to our spirit.
Right.
You know, so
we have to nurture the sense of community.
Through having people with, as I said, excess money, building theaters and calling the theaters by their names if they so wish. That could be something that we need philanthropists and the elites to invest in art. Because at the end of the day, all over the world, it's elites and philanthropists who give art an extra push, you know. And if they can do something and open theaters up in the 47 counties, the better. And if anything, it will be there will be return on investment in the money that they put in. So we do need that infrastructure. So people like this gentleman from Voi, Mwadime was saying, Mwadime can now walk into a theater in Voi and enjoy a locally made movie, and maybe one movie hapo katikati maybe yenye imetoka maju. But we should have like a timetable of like 3 Kenyan films showing in theaters across the country one day.
Right, and on that note, we do have a question that came in, and someone is asking, when it comes to audience and space development, can the Kenya Film Commission do more on creating viewing spaces? Can they give a list of hubs where a filmmaker can go and, you know, have a screening? Timothy, that's for you.
Thank you. First, I would like to respond to Madime's comment with an appreciation that there is hunger for local content, and that in itself gives us an opportunity to tell these stories. And of course, going to the market, we have a duty as government, filmmakers, and the audiences that we rally together to be able to provide these spaces. And of course, when you talk about spaces where the community can be able to access our stories, it is a concerted effort, which I would like to rally on business people, as well as investors, to be able to put in money to set up this facility, so that when we are running a screening culture program, we are doing this deliberately to be able to bring Kenyans back to cinema, so that they are able to consume local content at a fee. When that happens, then I can assure you it is very possible that we can be able to get that 1 shilling from every ticket, which will be able to be rolled back into developing the film industry in Kenya.
Right, and of course, on the flip side, there is quite the criticism from the ground here, and it's not much of a criticism. Let's just discuss or debate on this. Let's play the first clip.
Content creators wako very creative katika kutengeneza hizi filamu za Kenya ambazo tunaziangalia hapa na pale, na ninaweza sema kwamba it's a good move, kwa sababu wa Kenya tunataka tuone vitu ambavyo vimekuwa produced in Kenya. Lakini saa nyingine wao unakuta kwamba zile filamu zingine unakuta kidogo zinaenda nje na maadili yale ya kimsingi ya kifamilia. Unakuta ni filamu yenye ambayo labda sana sana imezingatia vijana. Hiyo huwezi keti chini ukiangalia labda na watoto ama na watu wazee. Ama unakuta filamu ina lugha zingine ambazo kidogo mtu kama ni mzee haezi kuelewa. Tukilinganisha kwa mfano kama na filamu kama vile za Tanzania. Filamu za Tanzania ni filamu yenye unaweza angalia na watu wote yule, na umri wote ule, na any gender ama na any age. Lakini za Kenya kidogo saa nyingine inabidi unakuwa makini kidogo.
Right, that is Richard Mwakwari, who is just talking about, you know, the language that we usually use. Do we reflect the culture that we live within? Is it maybe a thing about audience preference? When it comes to you, Ian, what do you think about this topic?
I've heard that Tanzanians are naturally polite people. So it's only obvious that it reflects in the work that they do.
Right.
Kenyans, I can say Kenyans have an edge to things. And things are usually said as they are here, and it's only fair that they get reflected on the things that
art
we do.
reflects
Society.
Yes.
But also there is broadcasters have gone an extra mile, and there is Kenya Film Classification Board that classifies, and before anything starts, they tell you the appropriate age of people who should be watching a specific show. So if it tells you 13 and below shouldn't, or 16, or only suitable for persons above the age of 18.
Right.
And they also put there's a general viewing.
Right.
So I feel like they should watch the movie from the start. And also, like as a parent, if you're sitting with your kids, it's only fair that you employ parental guidance, because content is made for everyone. And if you want movies that's specific for general family viewing, they are there. There are movies for general audience and people who are above 18 years old. And as a society, we need to stop shying away from who we are.
Right.
If we speak like that, we need to see ourselves. So if there's a change that needs to be made, so that it can be made. So much other than entertaining, we also educate. So we're educating you. It's like pointing a mirror at yourself, pointing a mirror and then denying the image and be like, that's not me.
Right.
So we are a reflection of what society is. I can't conjure stuff up from the ether and say, this is who you are. No, it's the day-to-day conversations that are here in a matatu, nikiwa base, when you're in church, when you're seated with family. Every once in a while, conversations do tend to take a vulgar turn. Not always, but it should be a reflection and teach us to be maybe better people, so that we can emulate our Tanzanian friends and be courteous people.
Right.
For me, I think it's an interesting topic, but to filmmakers, my rallying call will be, anytime you are telling a story, tell a story that you'll be comfortable to watch with your children at any given time. But at the same time, look at the governing rules in the country. What are the guidelines that enable you to tell certain kind of stories? Are you telling stories to your identified audiences, or are you just telling a story for the sake of it? Because if you are in business, then you must be able to do proper targeting, tell your story with deliberateness, to see to it that when you are screening your film, the audiences are not disgusted, or the audiences are not feeling like you've brought a product that is not conducive for them.
Right.
That's why research is very critical for any storyteller.
Right.
Know your audience, know the pricing, package your product, so that when they are buying a wholesome product.
Right.
Yes.
Now let's just delve into the Kahala Awards for a minute here. It is going to be happening very soon. One would say that this is the Grammys for Kenya. What are the preparations that have been made? What should we be looking forward to?
Very well. This year is different from other years. Remember, Kahala 1 started. We had the 2nd edition, the 3rd edition, the 7th edition, and now we are in the 13th edition of Kahala Awards.
Right.
But this year, what is different? What is different is the fact that this year, Kenya Film Commission is hosting the film market, which is a marketplace for buyers and sellers of content.
Okay.
At the same time, we are providing an avenue for discussions where we'll have policymakers, business people coming up with the very topical issues on technology, on business, and also how to make money within the confines of film industry.
Right.
In addition to this, Kenya Film Commission is also hosting the festival, meaning some of the films that we have supported in terms of production will be premiered during Kahala Market.
Right.
So from the 27th of March to 30th, we'll be treating Kenyans to film industry extravaganza in terms of discussions, entertainment, and also policy discussions that give us room to be able to appreciate where we are and where we want to go.
Right.
We have international buyers coming in from Europe, from Asia, and from East Africa. This is an opportunity for local filmmakers to turn up in large numbers so that they can be able to create those linkages.
Right.
So Kahala Awards will be happening on the 30th, which is the final day of the Kahala International Film and TV Market.
Right.
And I promise the audiences it's going to be bigger and better.
Right. Now, of course, there's been this ongoing trend, and as we start to conclude this conversation, because gentlemen, believe it or not, it's been an hour, the Kenya Film Commission has been looking into positioning, you know, the film industry through the film industry satellite account, and there's so much going on right now. You're pushing on monetization. You have said that there's going to be a marketplace. Ian, there's going to be a marketplace. As a producer, how do you think you can take advantage of this, especially in making more money for your films?
Oh, trust me, I'm going to be there at the marketplace because I also want to meet other producers who can help me secure more funding to tell our stories and also maybe introduce our stories to other markets. And I'm also going to be there as an actor to coax producers to give me jobs because I'm a good actor and they should give me all their monies. And also I'll be there to just network and get a sense of what other people are doing and also try and tell them what I'm doing so that they can exchange me, we can exchange games so they can put me on game because I don't have the monopoly of knowledge. Right. And of course I have a very nice suit lined up for the gala because I have to look nice as I collect my award.
You're already foreshadowing this.
I have to look nice as I go collect my award. And yeah, it's like I said earlier, we all look forward to the Kalasha because it's that one night where the industry gets together and we get to appreciate each other and each other's work generally, despite the fact that tunaweza kuwa tumeappreciatiana huku nje during the premieres and everything. Right. That's that one night where you get to know that my movie or my show was watched and this is me getting my flowers. So we're going there to get our flowers, you know.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's a night where we must appreciate our talents. And as you know, we appreciate from the leadership in our ministry, we are talking about talent and money, talanta hela. We must be able to champion this because this is serious business.
Right. Right. And when it comes to talanta hela, do you, Ian, believe that you have benefited from it, considering that, you know, the cabinet secretary had offered in the last Kahala Awards a very hefty sum to the people who won? Were you one of the beneficiaries?
Oh, I may have been paid my Kalasha monies. Okay. For the other win,
we keep our promise.
Yeah, I may have been paid, and for the talanta hela, I have a few friends who've benefited from it, because there was that time even there was a Corona kitty where the president had given money for the industry. I had friends who came up with projects because I'm fortunate enough to be among the few artists who are working during Corona, and some of my friends who were not working at that moment came up with projects. They took up the projects to the necessary authorities, and the projects were vetted. Money was given. The projects were done, and artists were fed. Right. So all I can say is I just hope that the talanta hela initiative becomes bigger than it is right now, and they can get more money from the central government to run the project. So that because at the end of the day, we need that money as the stepping stone to greater things. Right. Sababu with government involvement, at the end of the day, talanta hela is government involvement. Right. Government ikisha kuanoint iseme sasa we tumekupatia ifanya hii, things tend to look up. It's like your father blessing you in the house, you know, like now I've given you the blessing, go ye forth and do what you're supposed to do. We need that government support. Right. And if they can give even 100 billion to the film initiative, let them give it to us, and we hope we can do the work, and so that they can see return on investment on their monies. Because if we make movies and the movies make more money, I'm pretty sure government will find tax in between there to keep funding that kitty, so that more artists can get the monies. Right, so that you can have a full cycle. And as we conclude this conversation, Timothy, there is a question coming. What incentives are you working on to make Kenya a destination for foreign filmmakers to come and shoot here and boost the creative economy, as well as to train local crew? And we have touched on that, but what are some of, you know, the other ways that, you know, you can incentivize the
Very well. We are very deliberate on attracting foreign productions into our country, because that will give us an avenue to have more Kenyan crew trained on a very advanced way of undertaking filming process. But not only are we looking at foreign productions, but we would like to act as a catalyst for even local stories. Right. And with that, we are looking at incentivizing storytellers, both local and international, to see to it that we are able to propel them to the next level. Right. How we are doing this, of course, KFC is the liaison engine for the film industry. Anyone filming on location in Kenya, through Kenya Film Commission, we are able to create all the linkages to government offices. If you want to access the drone, you want to access the special passes from immigration. Let's say you want to use equipment from the National Police Service, among others. The commission is there to act as a link. And of course, we are not forgetting the issue of rebates, because again, that being the role of the National Treasury, we have come up with a proper proposal that will see to it that when the film incentives are finally activated in the country, we'll be able to see an influx of productions, and Kenya will become competitive. When we become competitive, we'll see more film production infrastructure coming up. The incentives will drive more productions, will create more employment, and at the same time, we'll also see investors now coming in to set up facilities that we require, like cinema halls, among others.
All right, Ian, as we conclude this particular conversation, I think we have less than even a minute. There are so many people who are watching you right now. They want to be where you are. They see what you've done. What would you tell them?
I mean, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to go to get there, fanya hiyo kitu yenye unaogopa kufanya.
And do it well.
Right, fanya hiyo kitu. Right, and that has been the Marketplace this evening. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. And of course, we have gone through all of your questions. The gentlemen in studio have been engaging with it. That is the film sector. You heard what they're going to be doing and what is going to be done in that particular industry. Thank you so much once again for being a part of this. My name is Hibak Said. Have yourselves a lovely night.
Na safari hii katika Mfahamu Kiongozi tutakuletea viongozi aina mbalimbali.
Nilikuwa na nisani kama 10